A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to talk about the Saturn as Atmakaraka. What is an Atmakaraka? How does it function? We've talked about it many a times before, but just a preview to all of you. Atmakaraka is said to be the king of the chart. It is that planet which everybody, that is, all the other planets in the chart follow. So it's very important that your Atmakaraka, when well placed, you follow, you understand what it's trying to tell you, and then go suit. Well, you have to pick up the Atmakaraka planet and see its position in the D9, and from there on we do the observation. So, before we start, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. If you haven't subscribed to us, please do, and do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Let's talk about Saturn as the Atmakaraka. Saturn, we all know, talks about hard work. It talks about sufferings. It talks about the ability of a person to let go of their ego and to work for the masses. It is that one strong planet that connects us to the masses and gives us the ability to be hardworking and to be just, fair. Saturn is said to be the Karma Karak, and so it helps us deliver our judgment well. It is that planet that sets boundaries for us and helps us attain those boundaries ethically and through hard work and gain a lot of wealth also. How does Saturn give wealth? Well, it does because it is the Karaka of the 11th house, or it is the owner of the 11th house in the natural Kalpurush Kundali. That means the more you work, the more you can earn. Let's begin with Saturn as the Atmakaraka when placed in the sign of Aries in D9. When Saturn is placed in Aries in the D9 as Atmakaraka, it tells us that one needs to be hardworking. One needs to put in a lot of effort to reach a certain position in life. Such people are generally seen to be lazy and they do not maintain friendship because people do not like their laziness. So, they have to work hard in those fields. They can be very strong in their leadership qualities, but it's just a matter of trying. They also need to let go of taking shortcuts in life because Saturn as a planet would never allow you to do so. There is a need for one to lose their ego and work hard. The leadership qualities that I mentioned earlier are very much there. They have to be judiciously applied, and one needs to learn to pick up speed when Saturn is placed as the Atmakarak in the sign of Aries, and that would help them to accumulate wealth and to become open, to have a lot of friends and to be great in moving forward in their futuristic approach. When Saturn as Atmakarak is placed in the sign of Taurus in the Navamsh, then in such a case a person is very hardworking. The person has the ability to work like a bull, and they are also great at accumulating things. They can accumulate knowledge which is of past, they can accumulate a lot of money, and they are particularly fond of accumulating things which have a very ancient value attached to it, like the antiques. They can trade in antiques also. They can be good with construction work also. These people are practical, pragmatic, and these people speak very less. They do not open their mouth everywhere, and wherever they do, they have to say things which are pinpointed and which will make a lot of sense. One point that they need to know is not hoarding things up. That can be little detrimental for their spiritual progress. The next that we come across is Saturn as Atmakarak in the sign of Gemini when placed in the D9. Such people are great communicationalists. They like to maintain their communication at a low pace, but they are very strong there. Also, these people are good at doing whatever things they do. In fact, these people work very well with the esoteric sciences and they are good as learners. They can also speak on a number of issues, a number of sciences, because they have accumulated a lot of knowledge. So, this makes them great teachers also. These are those teachers who would be hardworking and taking time to understand the subject that they are teaching and would also put in a lot of effort in getting their subject through to the others. These people also are good with connectivity. They can do any work which requires connectivity and they can continue with this work for a long period of time, as Gemini gives in continuity, multiple work, and Saturn here brings in things which are over a long period of time. So, these people are good in those fields. One can be working, one can be doing their karma in these fields and making good. One can also be seen working for their children, one can be working strong to make their marriages a success. They can be indifferent or they can be aloof, but they are very well aware of their responsibilities. Let us see what Saturn as the Atmakarak does when placed in the sign of Cancer in the D9. Here, a person is very laborious, a person earns good money by the dint of hard work. Such people can work in the construction industry and can be skillful at renovating old houses, antique stuff, so they can take up that as their profession. They can also work in old people's home. These are the people who know how to connect with the masses, and so they would do well with working in public sector industries. These are also the people who have a lot of affection for the old people, especially relatives, and so they can be very well off when trying to help these people. Also, they can have a motherly approach to others around them, which will make them great in their work. Let us talk about Saturn when placed in the sign of Leo in the D9 as the Atmakarak. Saturn here makes a person very authoritative and gives a person high position in life. It also gives a person high accomplishments. Whenever Saturn is found in the Leo sign as an Atmakarak, we would see that these people acquire such knowledge which moves over a great period of time, and they come to prominence in the middle part of time of their life. These people are also very strong on principles. That is why they end up becoming heads of states, etc. And so Saturn in this as an Atmakaraka, when placed in the sign of Leo, does make a lot of presence felt. Let us talk about Saturn in Virgo as the Atmakarak. When Saturn is placed in the sign of Virgo in the D9 as Atmakarak, we find that these people are quiet workers. They do not put forward all that they have very openly. They prefer to work quietly in a group which is very sedate, and they will always be the one to deliver their project, their work on time. They are perfectionists to the core and would like others working with them, being extremely perfect and punctual with their jobs also. So, this can be a kind of a fallout for you, because you could get very angry or you could be punishing others for not living up to your expectations. Saturn, when placed in the sign of Virgo, also knows how to make the best out of waste. So, such people can also work in recycling industries, these people can also work in NGOs, and these people can also work with the blue collared people. So, PR, etc. for such people is good. When Saturn is placed in the sign of Libra in the D9 as a Yogkarak, this is one of the best places that placements that can be for the for the Atmakarak, because such a Saturn is able to give you a lot of name, prominence. It is able to connect you with the masses, and it can also give you a lot of wealth. Let's not forget that this is a Saturn which is exalted and in the D9 also, and as per the rules, principles of the Navamsh and the classical principles, when a planet is exalted in the Navamsh, it gives exemplary results. So this Saturn here can bring in a lot of wealth and long-term wealth, which is stable for a person. It also allows a person to lose his or her ego and try to work hard for the masses. Again, when Saturn is placed well in the Navamsh, in this sign, it gives one a far and wide travel, foreign recognition, and these people make excellent influencers. When we move on to the sign of Scorpio, for the sign of Scorpio, people who have their planets, the Saturn as the Atmakarak placed in the sign of Scorpio, these people can work as in the death or death related industries. How? They make excellent lawyers who can work with wills of others. They can work in cases of dispute regarding property after death and questioning of the wills. These people have an ability to do great research. They can work in morgues, they can be head of administrative states, they can also have a lot of influence over the medical industry, and these people also can be good tantrics or can do a lot of sadhana. Saturn in this house is in the sign of Scorpio as the Atmakarak is important for such people to know how to conceal and how much to conceal. When we talk about Saturn as the Atmakarak placed in the sign of Sagittarius, it's a beautiful combination, because in the D9 this sign represents in the sign of Sagittarius represents learning. Saturn when sitting here gives one great learnings, and that too in esoteric old field. So these people are well versed with traditional knowledge. These people are good arbitrators. These people speak less, but whenever they speak, it is with a reference to the tradition. These people are also pinpointing in their delivering of justice, and these people earn name and fame worldwide. These people are also great travelers. Look into the chart of Narendra Modi with his Saturn placed in the Virgo, in the Navamsh, in the Pushkar Navamsh of Uttar Phalguni in the D9. It is placed in the sign of Sagittarius. It gives him lot of knowledge, lot of leverage, great travels. What more? It also gives him a high amount of publicity. When Saturn is placed in the sign of Capricorn in the D9 as an Atmakarak, it gives a person a very sharp brain. Such people have a business orientation with a long-term thought process. These people may seem to be lazy, but they are very intelligent and can have their own interests at heart very strongly. These people also know how to influence others. Saturn as the Atmakarak when placed in the sign of Capricorn gives one a strong business orientation. These people may appear to be lazy but are very quick and sharp in their minds. They take actions unaware of others and have the ability to rise to great positions, acquire great wealth. As per classics, these people also end up becoming the states, the head of states. These people are good with administration work and acquire a great position in life. Saturn when placed well in the sign of Capricorn gives one the ability to withstand all problems coming their way and stand tall. Let's look into the chart of Indira Gandhi, who has her Saturn in D1 in Aslash, second pad. When this Saturn is placed in the D9, it finds itself in the sign of Capricorn, which talks about a strong business sense, an ability to look into situations, gauge the situations and take quick actions, and at the same time rise to a great position in life. Let's take on the position of Saturn when as a Yogkarak placed in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is Saturn's Mool Trikona sign, which means such people work hard, they are futuristic and they are great conversationalists. However, they are highly detached and they have the ability to give an unbiased judgment. That is why their friends come to them, family members come to them to seek their judgment. So, these people can make good judges. These people also have an inquisitive mind which can be unbiased and lead them to great discoveries. These people are not very close to others and may find it uncomfortable to share their personal life with others. We can take the chart of Jayalalitha here and we can see how Saturn for her moves into the sign of Aquarius in the D9 and how it gives her the results of becoming great in life, keeping very quiet about her own self, not disclosing her private life to others and maintaining her own profile, at the same time be acknowledged well by the masses. Let's talk about Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces has the tendency to lead people to sannyas or to become monks. Such people have a great affinity for being quiet, being secluded, not wanting to be in a strong public place. These people also have the ability to donate without much hullabaloo, and these people can do great work with NGOs. These people have a strong understanding of the working of the universe, are gentle when it comes to leading people, but are not aggressive in their work. So, this is how we can see that Saturn as Yogkara gives you an ability to dissolve your ego and Saturn as an Atmakarak gives you an ability to dissolve your ego and move ahead in life. As the Karak, it is one of these planets that when it happens to be your Atmakarak is pushing you to do work in whichever field that you want to and excel there. Learn to be detached, give freely and to be generous. With that, we will come up with some other video. Till we meet
Please
again.
hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.